Hi, it's Andrew from Nomads Unplugged, and today we'll be doing the first review of the new Wikicamps. And just before we start, a few disclaimers. I'm working from the paid Australian version of Wikicamps. I'm working on my iPad. I have had a look at Wikicamps on my Android phone and noticed that it has not yet been updated. That could just be me, and maybe I need to go to the Play Store and reinstall the app. But yeah, working from the iPad. I imagine the functionality will be pretty similar regardless of the system that you'll be operating on. So, first impressions. This is a major upgrade. It looks and operates very differently to Wikicamps as it looked and operated before. Hopefully it will be a more successful upgrade than the one they did about 18 months ago, which had all sorts of issues with data. Trips had visits reordered seemingly randomly. So on a trip plan for the big lap around Australia, I suddenly found that I had a day's travel going from Caravan to Cairns. So that was terrible. Hopefully this one is better, but there are some major issues with this version of Wikicamps that I will take you through. So the opening screen, you no longer, when it's loading, get the progress bar with the 16% loaded, etc. It just goes through that nice image that you'll have seen. And it will open to the last screen view you used in the Explore view, i.e. if you've been into plan and you've been planning a trip and you leave Wikicamps and come back in, it won't go back into that plan view, it will go into Explore view. If I've got this wrong, just leave me a comment below, but at the time of my test, that's the way it worked. It will also reapply any filters that you had previously set. For my first look, which was about 24 hours ago, I was very disappointed and frustrated. When I drilled down into towns, I found that many data points were missing. They were particularly points of interest and things like information centres. The camping and caravan accommodations did seem to be there, but in the last 24 hours, they do seem to have added a lot of that data in. So things are starting to improve. Having played around with it a little bit more, I think it actually has some great new features. Unfortunately, it has some terrible ones, and one in particular makes it almost unusable as a trip planner for me. And I will go through that a little later, and hopefully this issue will get fixed very soon. All right, so opening up Wikicamps. My view, based on the last screen I had set up in Explore when I closed Wikicamps, is basically the state of Victoria, with a little bit of southern New South Wales. So let's go through this screen. You'll see there's a search bar on the top. There's this filter view on the top right. Then down the left, we have a list of 5 functions. We also have a button for list view. Then over on the right, we have these 3 features and the ability to add a site. Let's talk about this view for a second. So as you can see, across the screen are campsites and caravan parks with a single day use area down here near Warrnambool. I don't understand the method that they've applied for displaying these sites. It seems to be very random. For example, there are 2 caravan parks in Melbourne. There are none in Ballarat. There's none in Shepparton. If I had to click on list view, you'll see a list of the sites that are currently displayed on the screen. What I don't know, or what I can't ascertain, is the order of these sites in the list view. They're not alphabetic, they're not rating based, because I found a 4.9 later on. It's not based on the number of views. It's also not based on distance from me. So the only thing I can think of is that it will be an opportunity for sites to pay to be listed at the top. That's the only reason I could see you'd have this list view in this order. The other thing with this list view, if you click on a site on the map to the right, you'll see that it opens up that site, Kahuna RV Park, but it doesn't change anything on the list view, and you have no idea where that might be in the list view. So I'm going to hide the list view. All right, let's talk about these buttons here on the right. Firstly, add a site. I'm not going to go through that process. It is basically just a wizard that you follow. It will give you the option of entering the site by your current location, by address, or allows you to find it on a map, and it allows you to add all the information that you can link to a site. These other three buttons here, this first one is icon details. So this is really useful. You click on this one and it shows you what all the icons that are showing on the map might mean. So you can see we have campgrounds, we have caravan parks, and as I mentioned, there is 1 day use area on show at the moment. The third one is your current location. So that will zoom in on your current location. I'm not going to do that because you'll see exactly where I live. The middle one is map settings. What this displays is the current view, which is I have as normal and satellite view. The other thing you can do is show a trip while you're exploring. And I've currently got it on hide trip routes or routes, but you'll see that there are 5 other trips here. Now this is really interesting because I have 42 different trips in Wikicamps. So why has it picked these 5? I don't know. To me, there is no meaningful reason that those 5 are listed. And it's interesting that I can't scroll up or down. So I'm trying to do that with my mouse at the moment. And I can't find any of my other 42 trips on here. All right, now I'm going to click on the satellite view. And this I find fascinating and such an issue with the website. So I'll click on satellite, click on save. You'll see that the map has changed to a satellite view. Perfect. That's exactly what I asked for. So that's really good. Unfortunately, you might notice that there are no roads and no maps. So if I scroll down to Outback New South Wales or Outback Queensland, I don't really know. I don't know where I am. This is terrible. I assume they will fix this problem pretty quickly. I assume they will overlay this map view with roads or major roads, possibly rivers, but definitely towns. And I assume that they'll do that very soon. So I'm going to go back in and change to normal view. And I will just go back to where I was showing Victoria. Now, with this map view, if I was to click on an icon on this map, so I'll select this icon over here, this campsite, what you'll see is that it will move that site to the center of your map. So that's fine. And it will create this pop-up with basic information. So it's a campground. There's the default photo, so that's the same as it was in the previous version of the site. There's pricing sort of information. In this case, it's free, ratings, and then there's the address. If you click on the small car icon, you'll see that you can add it to a trip. Again, this is a major issue that has to be resolved because at the moment, I can only add it to one of these 5 trips. I can't move this bar across. I can't scroll up or down. So if I wanted to add this site to another trip, that's just bad luck. So I'm not going to do that. I can add it to a collection. So this is great. I really do like this feature, particularly things like visited or I want to visit, liked, dislike, starred. I'm not sure what's the difference between liked and starred, but I do like the ability to add it to a collection. And then you've got this directions. And this is interesting too. So under directions, you've got 5 different apps that you can use for your directions. So Google Maps will open Google Maps. Apple Maps will open Apple Maps. Safari will open a map because I'm running on an iPad, in Safari. Interestingly, these will show me 3 different distances to get to that location because I tried it. If I go into Waze or Sigic, that will open the App Store and ask me to install those pieces of software. Just going into Apple Maps for a second. So it's quite good. It does actually tell you and will work out the distance as Apple Maps does to that exact location. But to get back to Wikicamps, I then do need to actually change to Wikicamps. So I'll just close that down. Now, if I want to see more detail on this site, I just click anywhere on the site other than those 3 buttons I've just described. And it takes you into the details. Now this has also changed a lot from the previous version. The previous version we had 4 tabs across the top, which were details, reviews, fees, and photos. If you're ever planning a trip, they were really useful in helping you to plan that trip. And now their location has changed a lot. So the ratings are still here. So I can see that this Smoko campground has 4 stars. So that's not bad. But where are the reviews and fees and photos? Well, they're still here, and actually they're right in front of you. So the reviews, you can just click on this, the word reviews or ratings, and you'll see that the ratings are here with the reviews. So that's good. Click the back arrow and we just go back. Or if we want to see fees, we just click on review fees and you'll see that the fees are here. So again, that's fine. If you want to see photos, you just come down to the photo and you click on view all and you'll see the photos. And while we're in photos, we can indicate whether a photo is helpful or not helpful. So this map here that shows the location of the caravan and camping sites in relation to the river, I'll say that's helpful, so that's great. The other thing just on here is I noticed that these advertisements are showing up down the bottom, which is something that Wikicamps introduced in the last few months. I reckon they're terrible. I never really see what they are. They're so small, but they're there. Okay, so let's go back from the photos. Back to the site's detail page. So the details, what was on the details tab, or you clicked into, I think, to open it up so you could see all the details, now appears on this main page, together with any links to websites. You'll also see phone numbers, etc. So that sort of the contact information will appear here as well. There's an ability to add your rating or reviews. You can add your own photos. You can edit the site, so add in details. This one's good, this add personal note. So you can just type in a personal note, save it, and that will now, anytime you come into this site, so Smoko Campground, you'll see now it's an edit personal note, and down the bottom of the page you'll see personal note only visible to you, and it looks good. The other thing on here is these site features. So initially when I looked at this, some of the icons I thought were a little bit confusing. So the bar graphs to the right, this person waving on a road, etc. But one of the great things is if you hover over these, it actually shows you the details for that icon. So the person waving on the road, that means that it's close to the road. The bars are mobile reception, and you'll notice that they've actually separated Telstra, which is Australia's major provider and covers more of the country than any others, versus other mobile reception. Dangerous when wet, so that's an interesting one. Scrolling down the page, we've got the ratings and reviews, and again, you can click into view ratings and reviews and you'll see these ratings and reviews that we looked at earlier. The location, so again, this is a Google map. You can copy the address information and you can copy the lat long information, so then you could paste that into, for example, Google Maps, and it will show you the exact location in Google Maps. You can also click on get directions. It's the same as we saw before, and it's got the directions to the 5 different mapping software providers. The personal note, which I just showed you, and then down here again we can edit any site information. So that's terrific. We can, from within here, add to a trip. Again, you're restricted to just this list of 5 trips. I can't move this bar. I can't scroll up or down. There is no search field, so I can't type into there. To return to the map, just click on the back button and we'll come back to the map. Again, we're still centered on this location. And then to remove this pop-up from the screen, just click on the down arrow. And that's gone. But you'll see that we are still centered on the location we just visited. We haven't come back to the map view that I had earlier. All right, let's look at a few other things. Firstly, the filter. So the top right, if I click on there, you'll see it comes up with apply filters and save filters. Under applied filters, you can filter by your collections, so liked, visited, want to visit, starred, and to include or not include disliked sites. So that's good. That's going to be really helpful. And then the fee category, show all, free, cost, donation. Again, I think that'll be really, really helpful. In terms of selecting the types of sites, it's got the normal list of sites. One thing here though, you can't turn off all and then select them individually. If you want to deselect some, you have to actually go through and deselect one at a time. And then if you want to turn them all back on, you can, but yeah, you can't do the sort of negative selection. Down here on the bottom is some great additional features. So you can also select by things like wheelchair accessible, so any caravan accessible, no caravans, tents allowed, dogs allowed, generators allowed, etc. At the moment I have dogs allowed turned on. I must have done that when I was just playing around, so I'll turn that off and click done. You can also search on amenities, so the amenities available at the site, pubs and hotels. So they're a new camping site that people are starting to use a lot more frequently, so you can select those as well. The normal list under activities and location, boat ramp nearby, so if you're a keen fisherman, hopefully that has fishing as well, swimming, scenery. The normal ones, Services and connectivity. So I've talked a little bit about both Telstra reception and other mobile reception, Wi-Fi, good TV, pet sitting. That's a useful one for travel with their dog or cat. So normal list there. Affiliation. So this was in the previous version. Whether your site is affiliated with any of the big park sites, whether it's a national park, state forest, etc. And finally, any warnings or limitations. So time limitations on the site, exclude nudist sites, exclude 50 and older sites, so you don't want to be around old folk like me, etc. So they're all really useful. So I actually think this filter is better than what they had previously, particularly around these collections and the fee category. The other thing is you've got saved filters. Now by default there are these 5 saved filters set up. So how do these work? Let's click on this first one, free camps. And you'll see that if it takes you back to the filters page and shows you what's been applied. So our fee category has been set to free and our site type has been set to campground. All these other site types are blanked and it hasn't changed any of the site features down the bottom of the screen. So that's great. If we go into the show results, we'll actually see a much smaller listing of sites and they are all campgrounds and they are all free. So if I was to click on any of these, you'll see that is a free campground. So I won't keep going through that process. All right, to turn off your save filter, you'll notice down the bottom where we had show results, over on the left we have reset filters. So just click on reset filters and it will return to the default view. So show results and you've got the caravan parks and camping sites and the single point of interest there. So that's good. To set up a save filter, you actually go into apply filters. So I'm going to set up a save filter for free and donation overnight spots. So I've clicked on free and donation and basically haven't clicked on cost. I don't care whether it's part of my collection. I will disable backpacker hostels, day use areas, all of these. And you see, this is where I have to go through and disable them all individually. I can't just click off on the show all and it automatically disables everything. So I've disabled all those and I might select a site feature as well. So I will select that dogs are allowed. So now I click on show results and it shows me these results. And again, if I click on any of these, we should see that it's a free site. If I click into it, it should see that it is dogs allowed. So that's great. Go back, close that down, go back into my filters. So I've got that there. Now what I want to do is save this. So I have to scroll all the way to the bottom and I click on save filters and I just type in free and donation dog friendly. Click continue. So you can see I can view the save filter. It takes me into save filters and that's been added here. So now if I go to free camps, you'll see that the free camp has been applied. I'll just check. Yeah, it hasn't applied or hasn't retained that access filter that I had just applied. So that's good. Let's reset that back. So I'm pleased with that. But it does have the free filter. Now, if I want to revert to my preferred filter, I could just click on free and dog friendly. Now, here's one thing to be aware of. You'll see that I've used my save filter of free and donation sites that are dog friendly. And I clicked on show results. So I'm going to do that again. So we've got these results here, okay? If I then go back in and I click on reset filters, so all my filters have been reset, filters set successfully. That's great. I'll go out of here, out of the filters. Now you'll notice that the sites on display haven't changed. So if I drill through, I'm going to drill to Shepparton, you'll notice that it's still only showing campsites. So I've reset the filter, but it's not showing all the other points of interest or information centre, water points, dump points, etc. in and around Shepparton. And I'm fairly confident that a town the size of Shepparton would have these. And there's a reason for this shortcoming. So let me just go back in to the filter. When I clicked reset filter, it resets it on this page, but it doesn't apply it. So the only way to really reset filters is to click reset filters and then click show results. So if I do that, now if I go through to Shepparton, you'll see that all the points of interest, all the campsites, all the information centre, the toilets, the dump points, etc. are showing on the screen. So that's a little gotcha, and I think they need to make an improvement on that. Okay, let's try this search function. So I'm planning on a trip to Lightning Ridge. So I'll start trying. As I type light, you'll see that it's intelligent search, so it starts to show results while I'm still typing. And as I define my search criteria a little bit more, the list is starting to get shorter. But all these things are Lightning Ridge. If I type in the whole name, Lightning Ridge, you'll see that the results show 9 locations or 9 sites in Lightning Ridge. And they're sites that I assume have the full name Lightning Ridge attached to the data point. And the good thing to see is that you'll see there's a 10th site down here of Lightning Creek Campground at Mitamita. It's using some intelligence to not only show the exact matches, but nearby matches as well. Now let me just click on cities and towns, then click on the town of Lightning Ridge, or I can click on the right arrow over here. And oh, where's it taking me to? I don't know where I am. So I'll just zoom out. Lightning Ridge. Okay, so that's interesting. Maybe it's just that I chose Lightning Ridge, but it didn't take me to the centre of Lightning Ridge, that's for sure. But now I've found Lightning Ridge, I'd like to go there. So what's this Caravan Park? Big 4, okay, I'm a member of Big 4, that's great. It's 4.7, lovely sunset. There's a cost associated with it. Is the cost overly expensive? $32 a night, $38 a night for an unpowered. So special for 3 nights. So maybe I need to go to their website, look for special. So anyway, okay, I'm happy with that. So I'd like to add that to my trip. So I click on add to trip, and look, it asks me to select an active trip to add this location. So I can select a recent trip or any of these other trips. But let's just say this is not one of those other trips. This is part of a Opal Fields tour of Australia. It's not here, and I can't change that. So to me, this is the biggest shortcoming in this release of Wikicamps. I don't know how I can plan trips. As I said, I've got 42 different trips in Wikicamps. I don't know how I can add a site to it unless it randomly comes up in this list of 5. Major shortcoming. So that's really disappointing. So we've seen the search. Now let's look at these buttons down here on the left. And I'm going to start from the bottom. I think these are designed for future enhancements because at the moment there's not much to them. This menu button, see, it takes you in, says Hi Nomads Unplugged, FAQs, community guidelines, contact us at a site. So there's not a lot in here. I can go into settings and add a name in, update my email address, etc. So I won't go through that. But that's this menu. Now to get out of here, there's no X. So I can't just drop out. I actually have to click into something else on the left here. So it lets me go up to the next one, which is Save. And at the moment, this is not very useful, but is obviously a major revenue generator that Wikicamps plan on utilising in the future. So I can now save to 10% on juicy campers, on Star RV motorhomes. I can save $100 on my first van hire with Camplify, or I can save 5% on a travel experience. I expect that this is going to be a major focus and they will build this up over time. But to me at the moment, this is pretty useless. And again, the only way to get out is to click on a menu item on the left. If I click anywhere else, nothing happens. Book. So this one I find pretty useless as well at this stage. Introducing bookings, view all bookable sites, or book now. Look for a book now, or look for a book now button on the site details. So if I view all bookable sites, this just takes me into your standard little booking engine and doesn't default to the map that I was on, doesn't default to anything that will make my searching easier. So it just takes me to a website. So I find that next to useless at this stage. The 2 useful ones are Explore and Plan. So Explore is the view that we've been looking at. So I've got the Explore icon on. What I want to do is zoom in on a town that I'm interested in visiting. So I'm going to choose Echuca. Those with good eyes may have noticed that there was a little red dot over the filters when we had a filter applied. see there's no dot there now, so that means we have no filter applied. So that helps before we start our explore. Echuca's a large tourist town, a popular tourist town in Victoria. It's on the Victoria-New South Wales border. It's on the Murray River, and it was a major port when the paddle steamers ran from the South Australian coast all the way up to Yarrawonga. So you'll notice as I zoom in, more icons appear with each zoom. So that's, I guess, as you'd expect, but what decides what icons will be shown? That is something that only Wikicamps could tell us. And previously, what you would find is in a place like Echuca, you might have a number like 100, and it indicated there were 100 icons in that area, and as you zoomed in, it might split out into a 60 and a 40 and then split out further. So that's the way it's zooming in now. If we wanted to see what's out of sight, we can just touch on any of the icons. Probably should do that with my mouse so you can actually see what I'm doing. And if I wanted to add it to a plan, I'd just go through that rather frustrating process that I took you through earlier. All right, we've looked at Explore, so now let's look at Plan. Before I click on this, just to let you know, the last trip I was planning was a trip to the Flinders Ranges, so I expect it will open up with a view of the Flinders Ranges. No, it didn't. I had to actually click into Flinders Ranges as one of my trips. Let's just say that I do want to go to the Flinders Ranges. I've got a trip. I'm just zooming out from this trip, moving the map up to the Flinders Ranges, and I know that there's a location in Beltana that I would like to visit. But you'll see here, because it's not already on my trip details on the left, it's not coming up. So I'll click over to Explore View. It took me back to Lightning Ridge, which is where I searched for previously. That's no good. I'll come over to the Flinders Ranges, and this is because I happen to know my geography. Ah, look, there's Beltana. There's the point of interest, the Beltana Historic Town. That's great. I want to add it to a trip. No Flinders Ranges trip. So the trip that I just went into is not listed in this very short list of 5 trips. So again, I can't add it. Useless, just useless. If I go back into Plan, here's another frustration that I just want to share with you. I have in my planned trip to the Flinders Ranges to go to Willow Springs and do some 4-wheel driving at Willow Springs. Now in the old version, when I clicked on this icon, on the trip detail list on the left, it would show me where it was. So it no longer does that. So the frustrating thing there is that sometimes you want to rearrange the order of things and you just can't do that because you can't find it in there. So that's frustrating. But let's say that I want to swap the order of these 2 sites, Wilpena Pound and Sacred Canyon. Well, one, as I said, can't find them in the list on the left. But what I do is there's this icon up here, which is a reorder. So I come into here and I can reorder places or I can reorder sections. Again, where is that Wilpena Pound and Karula, Sacred Canyon and Wilpena Pound. So if I want to reorder those, just click on one, drag it above the other one. That should be reordered. Oh, sorry. And then make sure you click on Save. It's taken a little while, no confirmation of a save. There we go. Place is reordered successfully. Click the arrow back and you can see by the roads that they've been reordered. So that's okay. I can also share or print a trip, so I can share it by turning sharing on, then share it, and it will ask me who I want to share with. So this is probably better designed for mobile phones than the app, unless I just do it via email. The ellipses is print, edit, trip details, duplicate trip, etc. So nothing fancy there. If I go back into Flinders Ranges, plan, if I hide the list view, what does that do? Well, again, that site in Beltana, it's not showing. All right, so that's where we are. That's the new Wikicamps. So that's the new Wikicamps. As I said, there's some major areas of improvement, particularly around the filtering. There are some wasted space that I assume is going to be added functionality later, which is around things like book and save, probably under the menu item as well. But there are some significant shortcomings in the product that they've provided to us today. What is it? The 21st of November 2024. So you got some work to do, Wikicamps. All right, I'm Andrew. This is Nomads Unplugged. Generally, we have trips, etc. on our YouTube page. We also have tips, tech, toys, and tools. So they're the other things that we tend to display. Please, if you like this, like and subscribe, and we will see you on our next video.
I'm not heading for the stars, driving down the boulevard at night, playing Coldplay on repeat, watching people on the street as I go by. And it doesn't